Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Reviews on Tap with myself, Ngana Live, and today I'm going to be doing what I mentioned in the previous video about experimenting with content. Today I'm going to do a list of kids shows to watch on Netflix during this lockdown quarantine time. It can be pretty easy to run out of stuff to keep your child entertained or even educated, so I compiled a short Nyana list, and this won't be a review, by the way. It's just hitting through some recommendations. And then what I want to mention before I even get into it is that do not take this content and go feed it to your kid immediately. Go through it, screen the content yourself, watch it, and if you're happy with it, obviously you don't have the same boundaries as I do as a parent. We have different boundaries, we raise our children differently, so keep that in mind when you do take this content into consideration. Oh, it's okay, this might not be great for my kid, or this might be, but yeah, I've kind of like created a short Nyana list that I'm like, okay, this is cool. Also, obviously this is a video that is more geared towards, you know, parents, young parents, modern parents. But even if you're not a parent, and you probably know a parent in your life, either as a friend or a relative or whatever the case is, so watch this video, and if you find it useful, you think it may be useful for someone else you know, then you can pass it through to them and share it with them. With this content, before I get into it, also, it's not in terms of ranking best to worst or whatever the case is. I'm going to go through it mostly from the lower end of the age spectrum, from like 2-3 years old, and shift more towards the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old type of content. So yeah, keep that in mind when you are consuming this list. So I'm just going to quickly rush through them. Once again, not reviews, recommendations. So first on the list, we have Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is a version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which is a very popular TV show from the US that teaches a lot about life values, social skills, and just basically being a good person. So it's kind of a good show that you'd want to put your child onto, especially at a very young age, in terms of how to be compassionate towards each other and, you know, just be a bit more understanding. It teaches forgiveness, understanding, you know, mistakes, and just overall a positive show that I wouldn't say has any level of being problematic in any way. So yeah, that's kind of, it's a version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but it's animated with a character called Daniel Tiger, who is an animated tiger, and it follows him and his sibling and basically his family around. Second on the list, we have Magic School Bus, which is also based on a book series of the same name, Magic School Bus. It's more educational, science-based adventures and stuff like that. So if you're looking for something that's within that alley, you might want to explore that option. Third on the list, which is probably my personal favorite, is Storybots. Storybots is very educational in my opinion. It's also very entertaining. It basically, the format of it is each and every episode there are these characters called the Storybots, where children submit questions into the show, and they ask simple things like, oh, why is it important to brush my teeth, or how do computers work, or what's a shooting star, you know, stuff like that. And then the entire episode, these characters go on an adventure trying to answer that question. What's okay, how do computers work, what does this do, what does that do? What I really like about the show is the fact that it's actually a pretty great show in general, regardless of age. It's like very well done in my opinion. It's entertaining, it's educational. Even if for you as an adult, it kind of like, you know, reminds you of a few things that you learned as a kid that you've kind of like slipped your memory into the back seat, where you're like, oh yeah, that's obviously how this works, that's obviously how this happens. You know how sometimes when you have a kid, they can ask you a question, a simple question, and you kind of don't remember. You know that you learned it at some point, but you kind of don't remember the accurate answer, and this show can kind of help you from those moments. Yeah, it also has other spin-offs. There's a Storybots song show, and there's also a Storybots Christmas special, if I'm not mistaken. So it kind of like has 3 versions of it. Next on the list is Carmen Sandiego. Carmen Sandiego is very popular. It used to play on ETV Crazy, and it's basically Carmen Sandiego is a spy going around the world. It's more action and adventure driven. It's more about wit, but then now you're starting to introduce a bit of violence into the content, some death into the content, stealing, stuff like that. So once again, you kind of want to be mindful of that. Where within that life process, life journey are you with your child? And you kind of want to, you know, think about that very much before. Also, once again, go through the content before you push it through to your kid. What I want to mention about Carmen Sandiego is the fact that on Netflix there's an interactive film where it's called Carmen Sandiego, To Steal or Not to Steal. So once again, Carmen Sandiego going on an adventure. The child rather chooses whether they should Carmen Sandiego do this or do that. It's a choose your own adventure type of film, which can be very entertaining. But once again, as the title suggests, to steal or not to steal. So once again, you kind of want to consider that before you push it through to your kid. Are you ready to, you know, introduce this type of content into your child's life, depending on age, depending on values? Like, where are you with your child? Once again, next on the list is Baby Boss. Baby Boss is based on the, you know, highly successful film from like 2 years ago called Boss Baby, not Baby Boss, Boss Baby. And it's a spin-off of that. It's a series spin-off of that. It has a couple of seasons and a lot of episodes. And yeah, that's basically that. If you're interested in that, you can push it through, having screened it, push it through to your children. And then I'll mention the last two on the list, which is She-Ra. One is She-Ra, the other one is Dragon Prince. These are more action adventure based and fantasy based types of shows. They're less educational, more focused on story, more focused on narrative. Once again, now we're starting to be a bit more darker. Now maybe you're looking at 10 and above, you know, or 9, 10 and above, depending. There's now violence, death, revenge, you know, we're exploring those types of things. So once again, you want to consider this, but they're very entertaining. With age restrictions, please use your own discretion. Look at it, it's a suggestion. I treat it more as a suggestion because it's not always accurate in terms of whether this is, you know, appropriate for your child. And sometimes you may find that something says this is for ages 3 to 6, and maybe your child is 4 years old, and you play the content, and when you watch it, you're like, my child is maybe at a higher level of understanding than this type of content. And that's the problem. That's why I even created this video, is because it's so difficult and tricky navigating kids content. And because it's either very on the very low end of the age spectrum, where it's like literally for toddlers, or it's either on the higher end of the spectrum, where it's like, okay, now we're starting to talk about violence and you know, other stuff that you maybe not really ready for your child to start consuming. So that's why I like Storybots and shows like that kind of strike a balance where almost anybody can watch the show and be pretty entertained and you know, find value in it. And last but not least, this is actually very important. I've tweeted about it once or twice. I've mentioned it on a couple of occasions. With regards, I know this video exists on YouTube, but please parents, try to avoid putting your children onto playing content from YouTube, especially if it's content that you haven't went through yourself. A video or two supervised, yeah, sure, but don't leave it on autoplay for the, you know, algorithm to start feeding your child whatever it is that comes, because there is some pretty weird, very weird content that is on YouTube. Even YouTube for kids, don't even. Where you'll be playing Baby Shark for your child, and then another song will come on, and then a few plays later, next thing you know, there's some weird content that's starting to pop up. There's these algorithm based types of content that you can't really tell what on earth is it that what am I looking at, like what am I watching. And it's like a combination of Spider-Man, and you know, it's like, I don't know whether people create these types of videos, or they created by some form of algorithm that's just gaming the views system, the algorithm of YouTube. Because it's very weird, it's very mind-numbing, it's very unsettling. When you watch it, there's no clear direction what this is and where it's going. There's some weird stuff happening, some violent stuff it does happen in some of these videos, some inappropriate stuff happens on these videos, and sometimes it's not even the violent and inappropriate acts that are happening. It's just the weirdness of, I don't know what this thing is, like what is it, like it's just Spider-Man driving a tractor with a bear, and it's like, what is happening here? And there's a lot of this content on YouTube, especially in the kids section of YouTube, and it has like millions and millions of views, and YouTube isn't really doing anything to regulate that and keep that content off of the platform. Maybe also because it's difficult to do that, I don't know, but it's really not safe to leave your kid plugged into YouTube just like that. Play a few things, supervise after that, kind of, you know, get away from that, because it easily goes into that quickly before you even know it. And some parents around the world have reported that some of their kids that have consumed this type of content have went on to, you know, be pretty disturbed in one way or the other, and some can't even sleep at night or in darkness, because like I said, you can go check these things out yourself. You will see that it's not something that any person would really want to. Even as an adult, you are kind of like, okay, I'm not comfortable with this. There's just something that's not right about this. So yeah, that's one thing I really wanted to stress about when it comes to content for children. Because like I said, we raise our kids in different ways, and last thing you want to do is put on something thinking it's safe, next thing you know, not really. So yeah, keep that in mind. And like I said at the beginning of the video, you might not be a parent, but you probably know someone in your life who is a friend, a relative, or anyone like that. And if you think this video was valuable in some way, you can share that video with them. Comment down below and leave any comments or suggestions. Once again, I cannot reiterate this enough. Do not take the content that I just listed in this video and go feed it directly to your child. Vet through it, go through it. If you are happy with what you see in terms of age, in terms of appropriateness, and does it align with the values that you're raising your child under, only then can you start pushing it through to your child. Don't just take it and push it through because now when the internet said it. I raise my children differently than you raise your children, and the next person raises their children. So keep that in mind. Yeah, that's basically about it, guys. Look out for more other, you know, experimental type of content. Go follow me on Twitter at ManaWalive, NQNAWELIVE. Go follow Sparkles, go follow Acadium, subscribe, like, comment, share, and yeah, that's basically about it, guys. I will see you on the next video.